Thanks, Kennedy. The race for the 80th Student Government Association president is in full swing. We're bringing you a conversation with the candidates to discuss their platforms, priorities, and what they hope to bring to Hampton University. So let's get started. So as we all know, we attend the illustrious Hampton University. So let's first start by asking our candidates their Hampton intro and tell us a little bit about your platform. So Naja, we're gonna start with you. So why don't you give us your Hampton intro and then tell us a little bit about your platform.
Okay, well, my name is Naja Flowers. I am a third-year journalism major with a minor in political science on the pre-law track from Brooklyn, New York, and my platform is inspired by iCarly, so it's I, Naja. It's centered on creativity, progress, and opportunity. And I have a couple of points, which would be I scholarship, I graduate, I serve, I help, and I hustle.
Thank you. Patricia, we're gonna go to you next.
Okay, hi, I'm Patricia Joseph. I'm a third-year criminal justice major on the pre-law track from Rockland County, New York. And my platform theme is based off of Kamala HQ with her candidacy. So I turned it into Patricia HQ. And basically I infuse my platform, which is Elevate, which is empowering leaders, enhancing voices, and advancing tomorrow's excellence, which just aims to focus on pushing Hampton forward through innovation, collaboration, and just different things of that nature, but yeah.
Thank you. And then Emmanuel, we're gonna go to you last.
Thank you, Logan. My name is Emmanuel Harper. I'm a third year in the 5-year MBA program, minoring in leadership studies from Montgomery County, Maryland. And my platform is inspired by the Matrix, which stands for Moving All Together, Revitalizing Institutional Excellence, which serves to really help us all navigate getting out of our current situation at Hampton University, being in the Matrix, in our current situation, and using the pillars of campus unity, student retention, and institutional improvements to help us redefine our reality at Hampton and get to where we want ourselves to be at our university.
Thank you guys so very much. So of course, I think that it's important that everyone kind of gets to know a little bit about you guys individually. So I'm gonna ask each one of you an individual question that's kind of catered towards your platform. So Naja, I'm gonna start with you first. So you said that your platform was centered around iCarly and creativity. Can you speak a little bit about that? Like, what made you choose iCarly? You could have chosen like any other show. So why that particular one, and how does it relate to your platform?
I think that when I was thinking about a platform, I wanted to think about something that hasn't been seen, because we've all seen everything from every HBC. I wanted something to be different. I wanted it to reflect where Hampton should be going. We should be going towards a more modernized route. We should be moving from paper to online. And so I think that when iCarly came to mind, I was like, I can make it my own. I think that when I think about my platform points too, I think about how technologically advanced they were gonna be, how I was gonna bring just innovation to Hampton and a different student body, and hopefully inspiring other students how I was inspired by SGA my freshman year.
You know what, I absolutely love that. I think that that is, like you said, super creative. I definitely wouldn't have thought to do that myself. So I absolutely love that. And so thank you so much for your answer. Patricia, I'm gonna go to you next. My question to you is, how do you plan to elevate the Hampton University student body?
Okay, thank you for that. In terms of elevating, I definitely want to bridge the gap between the students and faculty here. I know oftentimes students definitely not necessarily complain, but talk about how their voices aren't being heard. And even with writing legislation through the Senate and different things of that nature, and hearing students' concerns, they still have that same concerning factor of not being heard, or just not knowing not knowing what's going on campus in terms of campus engagement. And I definitely want to be able to bring that to light in a sense and advocate for them. And that's really been something I've been passionate about, advocating and building that transparency through this faculty here and the students here at Hampton. So that's something that I'm directly, focused on within the next year, and making sure that I go a certain way about it where, both sides are met and have respectful communication and transparency through and through, basically.
Great, thank you so much. And Emmanuel, we're gonna go to you next. So my first question is, red pill or blue pill?
Actually, I think the red pill, blue pill conversation is extremely funny, because honestly, there's not a actual right choice, right? So the red pill, blue pill is actually emphasizing that there is a choice, but not actually emphasizing which choice is the right choice. It's more so thought-provoking, and really I wanted to lean on the idea of the mental capturing of the matrix, and us being in our current situation of the way we feel about our university, the way we feel about some of the things that are happening in our facilities or with funding and things of that nature, but trying to use my platform to escape the matrix and actually redefine our reality at Hampton. And it's not really about this, more so about picking red or blue, but actually about picking Emmanuel Harper for SGA president.
Okay, great. Well, I'm going to ask you guys a group question next. So I think, Patricia, you mentioned it a little bit earlier about, student voices not students not feeling like their voice is heard, and that I think is a reoccurring thing that happens every single year. And so, within your platforms, could you share why it's so important for you guys to prioritize and plan to foster relationships, with the students? Why is it a priority for you guys to make sure that those student voices are being heard, and how do you plan to do that? What does that look like for each one of you? So I'm gonna start here, and then we'll keep going kind of like how we've been doing, okay?
Okay. It's definitely important to prioritize student voices, and I often think about when you do prioritize student voices, what would happen tomorrow if SGA were to shut down? Would students be able to still be advocated for? And I think that that's something to think about whenever we think about that question. And I think towards my platform, I really don't have a solid concrete answer, because everything can be just letting students' voices be heard. But I think especially as we move on to the 80th administration, we need to remember this is a new year. There are a lot of things going on in the world, and people feel like they're not heard, and SGA is where people come to be heard. And this is also one of the main organizations on campus where people have a kind of sort of direct relationship with the administration at Hampton University. So I think that as long as we all remember we're here and we're students and we're here for you and we're sovereign, everything will be better.
Thank you.
To answer that, I was definitely thinking about actually implementing more of a SGA kind of office hour kind of thing, or even an online form where students can voice their opinions. And I know oftentimes we look for those things to be anonymous, but I genuinely wouldn't want that to be the case. I would want it to be hey, I'm so and so and I'm saying this and that, because oftentimes certain things like that get lost in translation. And I really do believe at the end of the day our voices are a part of our experience here at Hampton, and if we don't say anything, nothing's going to be done. Nothing will be fixed immediately. And I generally feel although oftentimes we always say it's hard to work with administration, if we're not, of course, vouching for ourselves or vouching for our peers, then we won't be able to overcome those battles with them.
Thank you.
Thank you again for that question. I want to start my answer off with a story. I know I keep mentioning that I'm a double legacy of Hampton, but truly I do come from a line of people that have a history in advocating for themselves and being a Hampton University student. My grandfather's a part of the class of 1971, and they're actually a class that didn't receive their diplomas on graduation day because they actually seized a building to advocate for themselves on campus. Those are the line of people that I come from. And I think that being a student at Hampton University, I came to this university with an extreme sense of pride and love for this university. And throughout the rest of my campaign, but obviously moving forward, if I have the opportunity to be the next Student Government Association president, will be showing that love and pride and actually trying to earn the respect and the support of the Student Government Association, but most importantly, the student body.
Let's start with Emmanuel. So, describe the legacy that you hope to leave behind at Hampton if you're elected, and how it will impact future students years down the road.
Absolutely. So, starting off again with the point of me being a double legacy, I came to Hampton University not just to extend the legacy of my family, but to create my own legacy. I think SGA president is something that I've had my eyes on since my freshman year being here. And I think one of the biggest things, which is highlighted in my platform, is moving all together. I think we need to reestablish the Hampton University student body, but the university as a whole, moving as one, moving with a unified purpose, and that's going to be achieved through my platform of campus unity, student retention, and institutional improvements to bring back the pride that we saw from Hampton University so long ago. And that's really the impact that I want to leave on everybody. Make everybody want to be here. Make everybody want to be a Hamptonian. Make everyone outside of Hampton want to be a Hamptonian. Not only because we have a fun school and a fun environment for people, but because we take care of our students and we meet their needs.
Thank you. Patricia, we're going to go to you next.
So my story's a little bit different. I'm a first gen, especially at HBCU. So for me, it's been a lot. My experience here has been different from the minute I stepped foot on this campus. But in terms of leaving my legacy behind, I definitely want to show, especially the first generation students, that coming to a school as big as Hampton or any other HBCU across the world, it's like a new life experience. And in terms of like leadership and just different things that I've done on this campus, I definitely would say that Hampton has molded me into a totally different person from high school to now. And I want to be able to give students that same like, you know, experience in terms of like what you should and shouldn't do to become a leader up on this campus. And I just also think that with being here, I want to cultivate that like those old campus traditions. Like from my freshman year till now, I know a lot of different things have changed, and I definitely want to be able to bring back some of those traditions that Hampton has had in the past. And I think with being in the position to be the future SGA president, I definitely want to be able to bring some of those traditions back.
Thank you. Naja?
I think that when I think about my legacy, I think about also me being a first generation student, but also, like I said earlier, inspiring other Hampton students the same way I was inspired by Historic, by Lasting Legacy, by the Esteemed, by the Transformative. All these administrations have poured into me, and I want to pour back. And I think especially through my platform, I want to leave the legacy of student entrepreneurs being able to have a space in the STU, being able to have certifications, being able to get their licenses. And I think also just Hampton being a UNCF school, that's something huge. And even if I can't get it accomplished within a set time frame, I've already laid the groundwork. And that's something that I'm super excited for. I'd rather lay the foundation than not keep a promise.
Thank you. So obviously, you know, impact is a huge thing, and I think that goes across the board with all your guys' platforms, as you guys just talked about. And so next I want to talk about how the SGA, of course, has a huge impact on the student body, and vice versa. The student body has a huge impact on the SGA. So a common concern among students is that their needs and desires are not being heard. I think that this is a reoccurring theme that happens every year. And so if you guys are elected, how will you ensure that the student voices are prioritized and better represented than like the year prior or the year before, you know? So first, I'm gonna start with Patricia on this one.
So like a part of my platform, I do like emphasize on enhancing voices. So kind of like what I mentioned before with like, I definitely want to implement, like I said, like a portal or just like some type of SGA office hour where I, as like the future SGA president or the cabinet, can actually sit down with students who come in and out to actually voice their concerns, and we take those directly to administration. Like I said, oftentimes, like kind of like how we said, a lot of things do get lost in translation, especially when it comes to students showing their concern for many different things, whether that be academic, residential. Like I know there's different ways to go about, you know, addressing those situations, and we have to take different routes to address those situations because it's not like something that can get done overnight. But as long as I feel like I put out that foundation of and letting students know like, hey, like this isn't going to be done necessarily within this very second, but I know that I will do my best and everything in my power to let administration know like this is what needs to be done. These are the consistent concerns that students have, whether I said like that be academic, residential, or just even financial, because I know those are like the three main things that students tend to struggle with on this campus, especially like incoming students, freshmen, like they don't really know their way around campus yet or don't know who to go to. And we know that Hampton Runaround is like a big thing here. So I definitely want to be like that main like outlet for them and like be transparent with them consistently. And that's something that I really am looking forward to doing in terms of, you know, voicing their concerns to administration.
Thank you. All right, next we are going to go to Naja.
I think that when it comes to keeping an open line of communication with students, students also have to remember SGA posts everything on the page. And, you know, we do already have office hours, but they're not fully established yet because people don't feel comfortable with doing that. So I think that with my platform especially, I would try to implement maybe an email chain between all the organizations' presidents, because if we can at least reach the presidents of organizations, they can send it out to their members. And I also think it's just me remembering personally, I've been in organizations where we're maybe not as big and we might not feel like our voices are heard. So starting out with our student organizations and then trying to get down to everything else. And even when it comes to our student athletes, our international students, making sure that they feel safe and welcome when we're having, you know, just our own HBCU culture issues that they may not understand. So I think it just takes a holistic approach, and even just remembering where you came from, where I came from, we all need that open line of communication. So just doing better as SGA as a whole.
Thank you. Manuel?
Thank you again for that question. I think in terms of addressing student needs, that's really going to start with building the trust of the student body. And something that I want to make a point to do throughout the rest of my campaign, and if elected as the next SGA president, is establishing that trust and connection with the student body, learning what the students want to have improved from them. Not bringing my own solutions, of course, but also hearing the student body, hearing their needs, and actually being able to communicate that to administration. I think earlier in my speech this week I mentioned that I do have an extensive alumni network, and I do have established relationships with faculty, alumni, and administration that will allow me to actually be that catalyst for change for the student body. So as I mentioned before, I'm gonna make it my point for the rest of my campaign to actually reach out to students, get to meet people on a personal level where they are, and be able to advocate for them and their needs, specifically hearing it from the horse's mouth. And truth be told, Logan, if I was elected the next SGA president and I wasn't advocating on the behalf of the student body, I don't even think my grandparents will let me to come to Thanksgiving dinner. So I promise you, if I was the next SGA president, that would not be an issue.
Well, thank you guys so much for your answers. I know that I've learned a little bit about you guys just from talking to you, you being legacy, a double legacy, and you guys saying like you guys are first generation. So this next question I think is going to be extremely interesting because I feel like all three of you guys are going to have a different answer. So my question is, can you tell us one of your favorite memories since being at Hampton? You know, I'm a senior, I'm graduating, I'm about to be out of here, so I know I have a lot of them, but I want to hear what your guys' favorite memory is. So I'm going to start here with Naja, and then we'll go around.
I think my favorite memory is kind of niche because I am a member of the Greer Dawson Wilson Student Leadership Training Program. I think one of the funniest things was when we had to wake up at 4 in the morning to go help organize the parade. And it was funny because in the moment we were like, we really don't want to be here, you know, it's early in the morning, but we were like, we want to be here actually. We want to put on for the students, and I think that's something that I carry with me always. Even if I have to do something early in the morning, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put a smile on my face, and I'm just gonna be happy that I can do it and that I have the opportunity to do it because I came from a place where we don't get opportunities, so.
Thank you. And then we're gonna go to you next.
Nash, I'm so glad that you brought up SLP because my favorite Hampton memory definitely comes from SLP week as well. We had a very long, strenuous SLP week, but at the end of the week we had Celebrity Wannabe. And I think that that was really one of the cultivating activities that was really fun for me. My roommate and I, we performed swaying for SLP Wannabe. Some people may remember that, the upperclassmen, but it was a really, really, really fun experience for me because it just kind of showed that when you do put in the hard work, it can be fun. And if you do it with the people that are gonna be willing to put in that hard work, it can be just as fun. And I think that even translates to our campaign as SGA president. I think that this is a lot of hard work, and there's gonna be ups and downs. It's gonna be strenuous at times, but at the end of the day, the work is gonna be fun if you actually have a purpose and you actually have a reason for doing it. So I would say that that's my favorite memory.
Thank you. And then Patricia?
Well, they kind of both touched topic on it, but my freshman year, I also tried out for SLP week, which is where I met Emmanuel and Naja. We were like all like kind of working together in terms of like studying and stuff, going throughout the entire week together. You know, it was a long week, but I think that's where I met a lot of my friends that I'm friends with still to this day, and I created a lot of those different bonds with them, especially like those who are either upperclassmen or just still in my grade. But that, yeah, I'll definitely say that's been one of my like favorite Hampton memories.
I love that each of your memories is with an organization, a leadership organization on campus. That just kind of goes to show how involved you guys are and the impact that those organizations have had on you guys. And you're running for SGA president. Obviously, you guys are leaders. You wouldn't be doing it if you weren't. So I just love that you guys each have that shared experience and that you guys actually knew each other before. So that's absolutely wonderful. But I want to say thank you guys so much for coming out. Thank you for talking to me, you know, telling the student body a little bit about yourselves, about your campaign, and the impact that you guys hope to leave. And I wish all of you the best of luck in your campaign and in your running.
Thank you so much.
And thank you to everybody who tunes in. That is all we have for you guys today. Have a great night, everyone.